Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we have some more content on OPTC Global, and it is a 10-star Garps challenge, one of my favorite pieces of content in the entire game. So in today's video, we're hopping into Garps challenge versus the Navy, or more specifically versus Akainu. Akainu is the final boss, and with this particular piece of content, it is built around Threshold. So Threshold's the big thing you want to get around. There is some bind, there is some despair. The characters do certain things if you don't do certain things yourself. But in today's video, I am showing you guys my initial playthrough. So the team that I built on stream today, so shout out to you guys on stream that were there to help me out and were giving me some ideas and some feedback, so I really appreciate that. If you guys want to check out the stream, we do stream every single Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 10 AM. But as I mentioned, these are the teams that I used to beat this challenge for the very first time with all the colors. Now, they're not the best teams in the world in terms of the most optimal. They're definitely not free to play either, but over the next coming days, I will be uploading more teams for you guys, more options, and some more free to play friendly teams for you guys that are struggling with character box. But in today's video, as I mentioned, I do have a team for each color variation, so that's enough about that. Let's hop in. Alright, so for the first team, we are taking on the strength variation, or we're using the strength team. So I'm using the V2 super type Snake Man, but I'm also bringing a friend, Luffy and Sanji. Now, throughout the run, you actually get hunger, so bringing Luffy Sanji as a friend helps out a lot, because they can actually remove the hunger. On the first two stages, we can just double pop the Zoro special and wipe out the mobs. On stage 2, there's like 5 enemies, I think, and they all have 6 HP. But with the Zoro on the team, we can easily remove them just by using his special. On stage 2 against Kobe and Helmeppo, they put up 2 turns of Threshold, and they give us 2 turns of Hunger. So we can actually use the support of Limited Rare Recruit Perispero on our Suite 3. That's going to remove the Threshold, which is really, really handy. And then because we are using a friend Luffy Sanji, we can actually automatically remove the Hunger. Now, if you guys don't want to bring a friend Luffy Sanji, I do understand. You can use the Otama support on your Snake Man, pop the Snake Man special on this particular stage, get an orb boost, a full bot of orbs, and then Otama is actually going to give you 3 recovery orbs, which then you can get around the hunger that way by actually eating those meat orbs. On the next stage, we come up against Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina. They give us 5 turns of Gloom, which goes down to 2 with sockets, and then they give us 6 turns of Bind on our bottom row, which will go down to 3 with sockets. So on this particular team, if you guys saw in the intro, we are using Halloween Ace to remove the Bind, and we do have Sanji on our Zoro to remove the Despair. Super, super nice. We also have the switchability of our Luffy and Sanji. If you don't have Halloween Ace, you could easily use Rayleigh to remove 2 turns and then switch with Luffy and Sanji. And then on this particular stage, we're going to be using the Snake Man special to give ourselves a full board of orbs and an orb buff. If you guys don't kill Tashigi on the first turn, she's going to give you attack down. If you don't kill Hina by the second turn, she's going to do something, I can't really remember. And then if you don't kill Smoker by the third turn, he's actually going to put up defense up. Keeping Smoker alive is the easiest because he will do damage, but with this particular team, we can sort of just take our time here, as he's not going to have his interrupt by the third turn, and when he does, it's just damage reduction. So if you guys get him low enough like I do, you can easily take him out through the damage reduction. With the Luffy and Sanji captain, friend captain swap, we can get some guaranteed recovery orbs as well, but because on this stage we get a full board, we get T&D orbs negative matching, that means that we can't actually utilize the Luffy and Sanji switchability to make recovery matching, but by bringing a friend super type Snake Man, our own friend super type Snake Man, whichever way you want to go. If you have Luffy Sanji, you can bring Luffy Sanji. If you don't, just use Snake Man. And that way we can make recovery orbs matching, which is super nice, super handy. On the next stage, we come up against Kizaru. Now, Kizaru has a 2-hit perfect barrier, and he's a dex unit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Luffy and Sanji special to try and take him out on the first turn, so we do have type advantage. He does make perfects harder to hit, which is very, very annoying. So bringing a ship like the Oro Jackson does help out, because we can hit our perfects easier. If you don't kill Kizaru by the first turn, after the first turn, he gives you 5 turns of blindness, and that is very, very detrimental, as when we come into this stage against Isu, it becomes a little bit tricky. Against Fujitora, he becomes a super type unit, and he gives us the 4 taps only debuff, which is very, very annoying. So what we want to do on this particular stage, we can use our Odin special for an orb buff. We can use our Suite 3 special to give us an attack buff, color affinity, and a chain boost. And because we can only attack with 3 units, we just want to try and attack with characters that have orbs. Now, I got very unlucky on this particular stage. and I only had an orb on one of my units. So I didn't actually manage to take out ESO in one turn, but if you actually just get like 2 orbs or even 3, you can easily take out ESO, no worries. Now, the beautiful part about this particular stage, by the way, if you don't kill ESO, he puts up end of turn damage, and if you get him to take a knee, he blows away 2 random units for 4 turns. But the beautiful thing about this stage is we can actually stall on the units in the back. Now, they don't do anything but heal themselves. But because we have the end of turn damage from ESO, we are going to take a few shots, but it's really not that big of a deal, as we can actually just stall on this particular stage until the girls hit the 89 turn cooldown. Once they hit 89 turns, they actually run away, and then we can move into the final stage against Akainu. Now, Akainu is going to turn into the opposite color to what your captain is, very similar to Enel, which is really, really handy, because now we have color affinity on this final stage. We have the support of Judge on our Luffy to give us a 1.3 times color affinity booster. You can also use Rare Recruit Kid, he'll work fine. Then what we can do here is we can use the Snake Man special to get an orb buff and a full bottle orbs, and then we can use limited Rare Recruit Lucy to give ourselves an attack buff. Now, Akainu also gives burn, so having limited Rare Recruit Lucy is super nice because he gives an attack buff and he will remove that burn, which is about 8k, I think it is. So it's very, very nice to remove that, as you don't have to worry about taking damage. After you do kill Akainu, though, he does have a revive mechanic, which is very frustrating. So what we want to do on this particular stage is use the Odin special, the super type of Luffy, and then use the special of Zoro to remove the threshold, and then we can actually take out Akainu easy peasy. So that was the strength team. Worked actually really, really well, but as mentioned in the intro, isn't exactly the most free-to-play team. So moving on to the next team now, we are looking at the Dex variation, and I'm using my favorite combo whenever it comes to these challenges of Kaido and Kid. Now, we are running mono Dex, and the only unit that isn't fully boosted on this team is actually the Clash Bonnie. Now, if you guys don't have the limited Rare Recruit Blackbeard, you can easily just replace him with someone that does Threshold. I think the new Bardo, the Pirate Rumble Bardo, does Threshold, which is super, super handy. So you could always replace him with someone like that. On stage 3, we come up against Kobe and Helmeppo. They have 2 turns of Threshold. So this is where we're going to use the Bonnie special. Because they give us the 2 turns of Hunger, Bonnie's not only going to remove the Threshold, but she gives us a full board of Recovery Orbs that she actually makes matching as a crewmate, which is really, really nice. So what we want to do on the first turn, we actually want to just eat 2 of those Meat Orbs to remove the Hunger, and put all of our shots into Kobe, as the end of turn damage from Kaido will actually do the rest. Because we get a 2.5 times Chainlock from Viva Rebecca, we can actually output quite a bit of damage, and do easily enough to get Kobe down so Kaido can actually take him out, as he is a strength unit. On the next stage against Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina, they give us the Despair and the Bind, and they rotate all of our orbs into either T&D or Unfavorable. So with the support of Lafitte on Blackbeard, we can actually remove the Despair and 2 turns of the Bind, and then we can just single tap and let Kaido just take this particular stage out. On to the next stage against Kizaru. Kizaru puts up that barrier for two perfect shots, and he makes it harder to hit perfects. Now, I actually stuff this up, and I don't break the barrier with Bonnie, so I don't actually kill Kizaru in 1 turn. So I actually get the remove sound effects buff, or the remove special effects, the blindness buff, debuff, sorry. So as you can see, I hit a great there, which was very, very annoying, because then I was just shy of getting the damage. I think, wait, do I hit another great? No, I don't. So as you'll see here, Kizaru is just literally left with a B stick, and unfortunately, we just can't take him out, but that's okay, because we can take him out on the next turn. Unfortunately, though, he will give us the blindness debuff, which is going to make it a lot harder to hit our perfects, and I think, lucky for me, I just hit a perfect at the very end. I think I just, like, miss all of them up until the Bonnie, as I don't normally use, like, all of these units, and even if I do, he makes it harder to hit perfects. So trying to get around that with a ship that makes it easy to hit perfects is usually the way to go. So you could easily replace the Victoria Punk with like the Going Merry. On the next stage against Iso and his 3 Marine Chicky Babes, he's going to become a super type, and he gives us the 4 shots only debuff. So we can only attack with 4 units. And then he's going to lock on himself. So what we're going to do here is we're going to switch with Vivi Rebecca for a chain lock. We can use the super typing of Kid, which is going to guarantee us a full board of orbs, and then we can use the X-Drake special to actually lock those orbs. We just want to try and do as much damage as we can to Iso without letting him take a knee. If you let him take a knee, as I mentioned, he's going to blow away 2 of your random crewmates for 4 turns. So you want to keep him just above that threshold and actually take him out on the 2nd turn. With the switchability of Viva Rebecca, we can actually guarantee ourselves a lot of extra damage with the chain lock. So missing our perfects isn't going to be too detrimental, as we do have that 2.5 times chain lock. Moving into the final stage against Akainu, he's going to turn into a quick unit because we are running a mono Dex team where our captain is Dex. So if you are running dual units, just be very careful what color you are moving into the final stage. He becomes a super type as well, and he gives us the red Haki, so he blows away all of our buffs. We do have the Kamazo support on our Kid to give Kid color affinity. We can switch with Vivi Rebecca. That way we can get a chain lock. We can use Kaido for a HP cut, and then we can throw any of the bomb orbs that we have left over from the previous stage at Akainu just for a lot of damage, as well as a 2.5 times attack boost. What we want to try and do here is do as much damage as we possibly can to Akainu, and ideally take him out without using all of our orbs. Now remember, you do have color affinity with Kid, and if you are using that Blackbeard, you will have that color affinity for Blackbeard as well. And then on the res, we can remove the threshold with the Blackbeard special. Blackbeard also gives us an attack buff, which is super handy. Then we can switch with Vivi Rebecca for the chain lock, use their special for a color affinity buff, and then we can easily take out Akainu on this first turn. So as you can see, the burn is quite large. 8k is pretty hefty, but the Dex team, Kaido and Kid, doesn't have any issues. Moving on to the next team, we are running a Cerebral Striker team led by my boy, Shanks Crew. You guys knew that new content comes out, I'm going to be using Shanks Crew, but we are cheating just a little bit. We are running a friend V2 Vivi Rebecca, and we are also using our own Vivi Rebecca on the team as well. Actually, now I'm looking at this whole team is Cerebral, so it's a Cerebral-based team. I would highly recommend changing the ship, though. The Liberal Hind is not essential. I'd actually run the Zunisha, as the Zunisha makes it easier to hit perfects for Cerebral characters, now that I'm looking at it, and this whole team being Cerebral. It's just going to make that stage against Kizaru a lot easier, and if you do get the blindness debuff, it's just going to make your life so much nicer trying to take him out. But because we're using Sugar, it's not that big of a deal. On to stage 3 against Kobe and Helmeppo. They put up 2 turns of Threshold. They give us 2 turns of Hunger. And this is the reason why we're bringing Vivi Rebecca as a friend, as well as bringing our own. That way we can actually just remove the Hunger just through their amazing limit break. And then we can remove the Threshold with Wedding Cake Nami. Wedding Cake Nami actually gives us a color affinity boost as well, which is really nice. And with the switchability of Shanks Crew, we can get an attack boost. Now, if you don't have that Wedding Cake Nami, you could easily use something like Clash Magellan. Clash Magellan does 2 turns of Threshold, and he's a striker, so then he satisfies Vivi Rebecca's requirements. And he's a bit of a more free-to-play option for you guys. But if you have Wedding Cake Nami, she's really, really good as she gets color affinity as well. On to the next stage against Smoker, Hina, and Tashigi. They're going to give us the Despair and the Bind, 3 turns and 2 turns of Gloom. And then they're going to rotate all of our orbs into either T&D or negative, which is very annoying. The positive thing about this particular team, though, is we have a lot of natural orbs matching. Sugar makes int orbs matching. Obviously, we have matching orbs in terms of quick, as we are running a full quick team. But with Shanks, we can actually get Psy orbs matching, and with Vivi Rebecca, we can actually get Dex orbs matching. So the only orbs that we're missing are Strength, and if you are running Zunisha, you can actually get the Recovery orb matching. Unfortunately, T&D doesn't count because they do give us the negative T&D buff. But as you guys saw on this particular stage, we did use Pudding to actually remove all of the nasty debuffs. You can easily get a full board of quick orbs with her as you put her underneath Shanks Crew. And then we can use the switchability of Shanks Crew to give us an attack buff as well. And with the support of Cavendish, we can get an orb buff on our Pudding. And that way we can just guarantee ourselves a little bit more damage to take out Tashigi on the first turn, put a pot shot into Smoker, and then finish off Hina and Smoker on the second turn, as Vivi Rebecca have a Dex variant. On to the next stage, we come up against Kizaru. He has the barrier for 98 turns. That's 2 perfects and gives us the harder to hit perfect debuff. So that's why bringing the Zunisha is going to help out quite a bit. We're going to switch with Shanks Crew on this particular stage and use their special. That way we can get a 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns, as well as getting the 1.5 times attack boost. With Shanks Crew as their dual form, we can make Psy and Quick Orbs matching, which is pretty handy. And then that way we can take out Kizaru. Now, if you do have the Zunisha, it's obviously a lot easier to hit your perfects. And that way, you can actually take out Kizaru on the first turn. But unfortunately for me, I did miss one of my perfects. So Shanks' end of turn damage is just shy of killing. But lucky for us, we have Barrier Pen on our Pudding. And we can easily take him out on the next turn. If you just break the barrier, though, you shouldn't have any issues taking him out if you don't have max limit break on your Pudding. On to the next stage now, we come up against Isus. Now, ideally, you want your Shanks Crew to be the Psy variation here, just so you can, get more damage output. We're going to switch with one of our Vivi Rebeccas, so that way we can get the chain buff mechanic. We can use one of their specials to get a 2 times attack and an orb boost. And then we're actually going to use Sugar Special. Now with Sugar Special, we are going to leave one unit as a non-bear. Because we actually want to stall on this particular stage, we don't want to wipe out all the girls in the back. And because we stay as the bears for 3 turns, if you make everyone bears, you will wipe this stage out, and you just won't have the time to stall. So keeping our friend Vivi Rebecca like as a non-bear is going to help us out by stalling on this particular stage until we get our specials back. Now, ideally, we just want to make sure that we get our Shanks crew special back, and we will still have the friend Vivi Rebecca available to us. With the Liberal Hind, we can get cooldowns as well, which is nice. And we do need that Nami special back by the res to remove the threshold once again. Once we've basically got down to 2 turns on our Shanks crew, we are going to move on from this particular stage onto the final stage against Akainu. Now, before you move into this stage against Akainu, make sure that you are the quick variation of Shanks crew. Otherwise, Akainu will turn into an int unit, not a strength unit. Very, very important that you make sure that you are the quick variation of Shanks crew. Very, very important. We can use the Shanks crew special on the first turn, as well as our friend Vivi Rebecca. Our friend Vivi Rebecca is actually going to make all orbs beneficial for us, except for T&D and recovery, obviously, but they reduce the chances of landing on that. And with the 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns with Shanks crew, we can carry that into the next stage as Akainu is going to res. On the res, we can actually use our Nami special, as Nami gives us color affinity. And then we can take out Akainu on this turn, literally just with a chain lock. See ya. And that was the Mono Quick team. Does it very, very well. On to the next team now. We are running the Sai variation, and we are using the Pirate King himself, Gol D. Roger. Now, Sai, in my opinion, is the best color in the entire game, so there is no shortage of sub potential here, and as you can see, we are running a very, very stacked team. We are using Luffy Sanji on this team to remove hunger. We have Shanks crew to trigger the super typing and get the 1.5 times attack boost. Law's great because he's got an amazing orb boost, as well as a chain lock. He has cooldowns if you use another special, which is really nice at getting our cooldowns back, so we don't have to stall as much. But this particular team moved through it very, very fast and very, very comfortably. We are using Robin as well to remove Threshold. Her special is absolutely amazing. But there are a couple other units that you can use to remove Threshold through the Sai variation as well. So on stage 3, we come up against Kobe and Helmeppo. They put up their first lot of Threshold, so we're going to use the special of Robin. Ideally, you want to put Robin underneath Shanks crew, so then that way you can actually get a Sai orb, then use her special, get a full border of Sai orbs. But your boy's a spoon and totally forgot and really didn't want to run the run again. So ideally, just swap the positions of Law and Robin. But as you can see with this run, I actually just used the Law special to give myself a full border orbs, as well as giving myself an attack boost with the Shanks crew switch ability. And there's just no issues getting around that as long as we remove the Threshold with Robin special. On to the next turn, we come up against Smoker, Hina, and Toshigi. This is where they give us the bind on the bottom row and they despair our captains. But obviously with Roger, we don't have to worry about the despair. And with the support of Halloween Ace, we can actually remove the bind. Now, I just wanted to show with Corazon on Law, you can remove bind as well. So if you don't have Halloween Ace, you can also use Rayleigh on Luffy and Sanji, and that way you can remove all the bind. We're also going to use the switch ability of Shanks crew on this particular stage to get a attack buff, as well as using one of the super typings of Roger to guarantee us a full border orbs. Ideally, we just want to make sure we take out Toshigi on this first turn, and then we can focus on Hina on the next turn, so we don't have to worry about the attack down, or we don't have to worry about whatever Hina does. I cannot remember what she does off the top of my head, unfortunately. But after 2 turns, she does some nasty stuff, so make sure you do take her out before that second turn, and then we can focus all of our attacks into Smokey Boy. Moving on to stage 5 against Kizaru. Kizaru puts up the barrier for 2 perfects and makes it harder to hit our perfects. He gives us that very nasty debuff that I really don't like. We're going to use one of the Roger specials on this particular turn, so we can get a 3 times attack boost, as well as become a 5 times captain. We can switch with Shanks crew to guarantee us some orbs. Ideally, switch with Luffy and Sanji before you switch with Shanks crew, because you actually can't make that recovery orb matching with their switch ability, as we do get the T&D. All T&D orbs are negative debuff. We can easily take him out on that particular turn as long as you break the barrier. That 3 times attack boost is absolutely no joke. Onto the Fujitora stage now. He becomes a super type and gives us the 4 taps only debuff. He also locks onto himself, but lucky for us, we are a full Sai team, so we're going to have no issues taking out Iso on this very first turn. We're going to use the special of Luffy and Sanji, provided we are in the Sai variation, and then we can switch with our Shanks crew after that to guarantee us 3 matching orbs. 3 matching orbs is pretty much all we need, as we can only attack with 4 units anyway. So we're just going to start the chain with our Shanks crew attack, and then we're going to finish off Isu with our matching orbs. The 2.5 times attack boost from Luffy Sanji is really, really nice, as we can easily just take that stage out. Now, ideally, we're just going to stall a little bit on these girls here, as we don't really need to stall too long. We just really want to make sure that we can actually get our law special back, and then we're actually good to go. I think I overstall a little bit on this stage. Oh, no, looking at it, I don't overstall at all. I stall, like non-existent stalling, to be honest. So on the final stage against, before you move on to the final stage against Akainu, you want to use the Shanks Crew special. That way you get the carryover of the 3.5 times chain lock, as Akainu actually only lets us use 2 specials. I think I forgot to mention that in the other run, so I do apologize. But with the support of Kazuki Odin, we can get a T&D orb on our Roger. So that's why I attacked with my Roger to finish off the girl in the final stage. And then we can use our other Roger special to get an attack buff. And then we can take out this particular stage easy peasy. If you really want to, you can actually use the Law special and then use the Roger special after that. Just to do a little bit more, to do a little bit extra damage. But I really wanted to get the chain lock on the res, as we still have the carryover of the chain lock from Shanks Crew from the previous stage. Once he reses, we can switch with our Shanks Crew. That's going to give us an attack boost. We can use Robin special to remove the threshold that he applies, and then we can use the Law special to get a chain lock. And with that, we can just easily take out Akainu, no worries whatsoever. And that's Monosai. Very, very easy. With Roger, things are just an absolute cakewalk. So moving on to the final team of the video, we are running Mono Ints, and we are utilizing Verse Big Mom as our captain, and I really, really wanted to use the Halloween slashes. So I did include the 3 of them on this particular team, as well as Kazuna Kid. Now, if you guys don't have the support of Limited Rare Recruit Perispero, you can actually replace Kazuna Kid with Rare Recruit Dofi that came out with the Super Type Int units, like Blackbeard and Katakuri. As long as you have double special, you don't even really need double special actually, but double special is definitely going to help you out. Now, on this particular stage, stage 2, you actually want to try and stall out. Well, not stall out, but you want to use all your orbs to try and make sure that you get 2 recovery orbs, or a T&D orb, because when we move into this stage against Kobe and Helmeppo, they actually make all recovery orbs into block orbs, so that way we can use the Big Mom special to turn them back into recovery orbs, and we can actually get around the hunger. With Big Mom, if you hit your perfects, you actually eat the meat orbs, which is actually really, really nice. So because we can guarantee ourselves 2 meat orbs, we can actually remove the hunger even if we hit our perfects, and that way with the attack buff of Big Mom, we can actually take out this particular stage. Because we're hitting our perfects with the recovery orbs as well, it means we can actually get the orb buff on this particular stage. But unfortunately, it really doesn't matter, because we actually get a full board of T&D or negative orbs. We're also going to get gloomed for 2 turns and get 3 turns of bind, provided you have sockets on your bottom row. So we're actually going to use the support of Corazon to remove the 2 turns of despair, as well as 2 turns of the bind. And then we can use the Yasop support on our Halloween Shanks, when we use the Halloween Shank special, to remove the rest of the binds. Now, because we are running the Halloween slashes on this particular team, we do have 3 units that can actually get color affinity, and because Hina and Tashigi are Sai units, it makes it really, really easy to actually take out Tashigi on the first turn, and actually take out Hina on the next turn. Because we get the 3 turns of color affinity for our slashes, as well as getting that chain buff that Shanks can provide as we're running a full int team, it's actually really, really nice, as we can actually do quite a lot of damage to not only take out Hina on the second turn, but ideally you can take out Smoker on this turn. Now, I actually wanted to stall an extra turn on Smoker here, mainly just so I can get some healing back and guarantee myself some more orbs. And not rely on too much RNG. Remember, Smoker doesn't do anything until the 3rd turn. He only does damage reduction when he does. So this is a good time to either build up the verse meter of Big Mom, or guarantee yourself some more recovery orbs or matching orbs. On to the next stage against Kizaru. He puts up the barrier for 99 turns. It's a 2 perfect barrier, and he gives us harder to hit perfects. So we're actually going to use the verse ability of Big Mom on this particular stage, as well as utilizing the other Big Mom special. With the Halloween slashes, they actually all have barrier pen, which is really, really nice, as if you do miss your perfects on this particular stage, you can still output a lot of damage as you are going through the barrier. And with the versatility of Big Mom, you can actually go through the barrier as well. So with 4 of your units having basically barrier pen, it makes it easier taking out Kizaru. On the next stage, we come up against Fujitora and his 3 Chicky Babes. On this particular turn, we really want to take out Isu in 1 turn, but if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Because we have the carryover of the orb buff from the Big Mom special from the previous turn, we're actually going to use the special of Mihawk on this stage. With the support of V1 Zoro, we can get a chain lock as well. And because we can only hit with 4 units, getting the 4 unit debuff, it actually makes it a lot easier to take this stage out, as we have an orb buff, as well as an attack buff and a chain lock, maximizing our damage to easily take out Isu. If you don't kill Isu on the first turn, he's going to give you end of turn damage, and if you let him take a knee, he blows away 2 of your random crewmates for 4 turns. Now, ideally on this particular stage, we can actually stall for as long as we need to. But really, you only need to stall until you can get your Big Mom specials back and Halloween Shanks, as because we are a int captain, Akainu is actually going to turn into a Psy unit. Now, with Shanks giving the 3 turns of color affinity, we can actually carry that through the res, and with the Law special, we can actually give ourselves an Orb buff. So what we're going to do on this stage against Akainu, we are going to utilize the special of Big Mom to give ourselves an attack boost. We can use the special of Law to give ourselves an Orb buff, and then we can actually take out Akainu on the very first turn. We also have the versatility of Big Mom, so we can actually turn some slots into Semler slots. But with this team in the Nostra Costello, we have like 100,000 HP, which is just really, really nice. And as you can see, like the burn doesn't matter too much, as we have so much HP. Because we get Semler slots as well, they actually heal us after the burn does its... Oh, no, it doesn't. It actually goes before the burn. I thought it was after the burn, but never mind. On the res against Akainu, he puts up the 2 turns of Threshold, which we can remove with Kazuna Kid. Kazuna Kid's also going to give us end of turn damage, which is really cool. He also does a... what's it called? He also does cooldowns as well for our int units. So if you want to, you can get your Mihawk special back here. And that way you can get an attack buff as well, which is really, really handy. So there you guys go. That was my Garps Challenge Navy run. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go there and belt the like button for me. And if you're new to my channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates!